Every year, the world's rich and famous, from billionaires to Hollywood stars, all head out to a secluded spot in Northern California's forests. A place called Bohemian Grove. President George Bush, Henry Kissinger, Clint Eastwood, David Rockefeller, and so many more are on record traveling to Bohemian Grove. It's a place where they can get away from their professional life, ditch their online personas, and have a good time without anyone watching. But after dark, things get disgusting. Ceremonies with hooded figures, secret symbols, and even burning orgies in an event called the Cremation of Care, where it's said they leave their worries behind with the flames. And in the morning though, everyone goes back to their normal day job just like nothing happened. So was it all just for fun? Or did they actually hash out some major agreements that directly affect all of us? Because rumors say the big shots are supposedly making decisions over these campfires. But who knows, they might just enjoy a break from being in the spotlight. But what you don't realize, it's a place like this where the real world terror happens. And Bohemian Grove is only the tip of the iceberg. The ultra rich host these truly extravagant parties at hotels, yachts, weddings, birthdays, but what truly happens there when there's no cameras and no prying eyes? The world of the ultra rich is one most of us will never see. And that's exactly the point. When you hear about billionaires and their yachts, what do you picture? Sunshine and champagne, right? Well, not exactly. It's more like human trafficking with a view. These guys dangle fame, modeling, and opportunities in front of these young girls to get them on a yacht, and boom, they're trapped. They're in the middle of the water, security was everywhere, there was no way out. They're not guests, they were for sale. It was pretty much Epstein's wet dream. And the abuse, it was non-stop, often fueled by drugs and threats. Out in the open ocean, these women were just targets. Some would never even come back. They were silenced with payoffs and NDAs so the rest of us wouldn't find out. Don't forget the crew either. They see everything, but they're also paid to keep quiet. It's a sick system designed to keep everyone in line, from the girls to the crew serving caviar. But this whole IG influencer yacht girl thing isn't exactly new. It started way back with Grace Kelly marrying that prince way back in Monaco. That's when rich guys started competing, always with the one-upmanship. Suddenly, it was about which billionaire had the hottest wife and the most girls around them. Throwing extravagant parties and having a bunch of girls on a yacht really is just a billionaire's way to low-key flex. But with everything, things got taken to the extreme. Fast forward to 2015, you have this crazy Saudi prince flying 50 women in from all over the world for a party on his yacht. He had women from Russia, Brazil, Australia, the United States. He had them from everywhere. But the same goes for those Cannes yachts filled with models and actresses cozying up to rich strangers. The Hollywood Reporter exposed it all. These girls are paid huge sums, and why would they not be paid this much? Even some of the yachts are super expensive, some going up to as high as $400 million. Bella Thorne knows the pressure. She got caught with Scott Disick. That's a hint at what these parties are really about. Oil barons, princes, the old money crowd, they all run the show from behind the scenes. Emily Ratajkowski's memoir spills some tea. Names like Kendall Jenner and the Kardashians are also no stranger to these yacht parties. But what you see at Cannes is just a small piece of a larger puzzle. Shady agencies lure these girls in, and there's no guarantee of safety. Wild stories leak out, nurses on board, dog attacks, imagine the horrors they try to bury. One minute an actress is partying and the next minute she's overdosing. And don't even get me started on all those who mysteriously vanish without a trace, or some who sadly end up dead. This is a human trafficking hotspot. Remember Kim K hanging with Joe Lo the fugitive? Rumors of cash gifts and Ferraris in exchange for her company. It's no wonder why the FBI grilled her. Lindsay, Kara, Naomi, even Prince Andrew's name comes up. If they flaunt this excess at Cannes with cameras flashing, what happens out of sight? Stories of livestock slaughtered on deck. It's grotesque, pure depravity on display.
veal or livestock so fresh that it actually gets flown in on a helicopter, slaughtered on board, and served to the guest as fresh as can be. Unfortunately, it can sometimes get a bit seedy, a bit creepy with drunk people who think they can do whatever they want. These owners, these millionaires, these billionaires, they're incredibly powerful people, and a lot of the time they get their own way.
The cabin crews are abused, but the rich play non-stop. And the truth? Well, we won't get it. These men control the narrative, silencing any dissent. And let me tell you, this is not limited to yacht parties only. Yachts are only the start. Think of those fancy hotels where celebrities and millionaires love to stay. The ones where just one night in a room could pay your whole rent for a year. Well, this is another place where the ultra-rich throw some of their wildest parties. These parties are invite only, and the guest lists are filled with the rich and famous, from actresses and celebrities to billion-dollar business owners. Getting invited is basically impossible for a dude like me, I'm not gonna lie. These parties are all about being super on the low and keeping things quiet. And the hotel staff working them often have to sign papers saying they won't tell anybody about what they've seen. But trust me, crazy stories always find a way to leak out. Wild spending, secret business deals, and let's just say some activities you wouldn't want your grandma to know about. Now, we're probably never gonna score invites to one of these fancy parties, but that doesn't mean we can't get the inside scoop though. See, if you're a billionaire and you want to throw the best party, you're gonna need a ton of things to happen. Food, flowers, entertainment. The people who provide these things often see and hear a lot. And if you can find the right person, say a chatty limo driver or someone who delivers the fancy food, they might let us in on a few secrets. A hotel worker spilled the beans on the outrageous parties thrown by the super rich. And the crazy part about it is that these wealthy guests don't just book out rooms or suites, they rent out the entire hotel and turn them into scenes of absolute madness. They trash the place, leaving behind messes so bad, it looks like a crime scene, because sometimes that's really what it is.
One weekend, a large group of around 60-ish people, they wanted to purchase out the entire hotel so they could just turn it into a giant orgy.
This behavior just shows how far some rich people will push the limits, seemingly thinking their money gives them permission to break every rule on the book. The parties are ridiculously over the top. In one instance, he mentioned 60 people wreaking havoc for an entire weekend, leaving the place so filthy that the staff needed special tools to even figure out what happened.
They left a nightmare room. Blood, feces, semen stains. One of my bellboys came up and was like, "I've got a black light, I'm curious." He turned it on, and I remember we looked down and saw the stains, we looked to the sides and saw them on the wall. At one point in the bathroom, we looked up and saw them all on the ceiling, and we were just like, how do you do this? This is not human. Were you on the ceiling?
It's disgusting, but sadly, this type of thing appears to be happening more and more frequently. And the thing is, this wasn't about disrespecting hotel property, this was literally just because they didn't care. They had zero human decency. Hotels are meant to be shared by everyone. They shouldn't become a personal playground for the rich to act a fool. But this behavior makes you question a system where money can apparently buy you out of basic human decency. Talk about the system, who's controlling it and from where? Well, it's clearly not the White House or any of the presidents. Everything's controlled by someplace else, deep in the North Carolina forest, but we'll expose it later. First, let's talk about some of your favorite down-to-earth celebrities. Talk about a party you'll never get invited to. For Mukesh Ambani's son, a pre-wedding bash apparently wasn't enough. He needed Rihanna to perform barefoot at his wedding. Because when you're that rich, a local DJ just won't cut it. And everything was going down at the Ambani estate. You know the Ambanis, the richest family in Asia. Naturally, they have VIPs like Mark Zuckerberg and Hillary Clinton lounging by the pool. That figures. And all of that just for this one party probably cost more than some countries' yearly budgets. All for some dude's glorified engagement party. Talk about obscene. Meanwhile, everyday folks are barely making ends meet, But hey, at least the Ambanis threw a killer bash. It's like they're flaunting their insane wealth gap, reminding us rules are for the little people. Some will say they earned it, let them have fun, but there's something deeply wrong when a single party's cost could have been used to solve real problems. It's not jealousy, it's just basic decency. But hey, at least the Ambanis aren't alone in their absurdity. Another great example is Blue Ivy Carter. This kid is living a life beamed in from another planet. Private jets, designer labels she'll never wear twice, forget birthday clowns, she's got front row seats to NBA games with billionaire celebrity parents. Bidding $19,000 on art? Why not? It's pocket change anyway. Want to rent out Disneyland to privately have it for you and your family? No problem. Her birthdays? Forget bouncy castles, we're talking theme parks and celebrity performers. It's less a celebration and more like a mini Coachella on Prime delivery. Sure, every parent wants the best for their kid, that's natural. But when your best means a childhood so far removed from reality, it's practically satire. Well, that raises some more questions. How do you keep a kid grounded when their normal is just unimaginable privilege? It seems almost impossible when as a kid, growing up, these parties and the extravagant life was all you know. And then there's P. Diddy. This man's parties after dark are things of absolute horror, making Gatsby soirees look like a church picnic.
What I will say is at one particular party, lots of big names, there was an artist there who said, "Hey, Lecrae, around 1 a.m., make sure you're not here." And I was like, what? You just don't want to be here at 1 in the morning. It's probably 12:30. I'm downstairs. I go downstairs to the studio. I come up out the studio. I'm headed back upstairs to like the main area where everyone's kind of congregating and hanging out. And the music changed. It was like really hard and heavy at first. And then, like it was a little softer. It was a little more sensual when I came out the studio, started going upstairs. And on my way upstairs, there's like this couch. And on the couch, I saw a couple of guys really going at it, hard and heavy. Man, and I was like, oh, my brain, I'm thinking, well, the celebrity party, people do what they do. As I started moving upstairs, I passed them up and I noticed that it wasn't just those two guys, it was more and more people just going at it.
Yachts, champagne, waterfalls, and more celebrities than at an awards show. Diddy throws money around like it's Monopoly cash. And his parties were extortion and excess. When you're that rich, celebrations become exercises and extravagance, further proof that life at the top plays by a whole different rule book. And speaking of rules, who sets them? The government, the army, the president, the FBI? Well, we'll know who in 1 second. The Bohemian Club has held a long fascination for those drawn to tales of exclusivity and power. Founded nearly 150 years ago in San Francisco, it began as a haven for artists and journalists seeking a bohemian lifestyle. But this club quickly evolved. Its membership now boasts some of the wealthiest and most influential men on the planet. Each summer, they gather at the Bohemian Grove, a sprawling redwood retreat in Sonoma County, California. Camps with the names like Lost Angels and Silverado Squatters dot the grounds. Women and children are banished at night, cloaking the activities in a veil of secrecy. A massive concrete owl overlooks the scene, where politicians and CEOs mingle, often giving speeches on matters of public policy. It's a strange juxtaposition of extravagance and bizarre rituals, the most infamous being the symbolic sacrifice of an orgy to banish the worries of members, some of whom have been US presidents. But the Bohemian Grove isn't just about odd ceremonies. Former employees paint a picture of excess, heavy drinking, wild frat house-like parties, and a disregard for the staff who clean up the aftermath. These guys, they don't want that college experience to go away, one worker remarked. They now have more money and better alcohol. While many presidents have visited the Bohemian Grove, verified membership has been limited to figures like Theodore Roosevelt, who received honorary status, Herbert Hoover, a devoted attendee, and Richard Nixon, who reportedly exploited his connections there to advance his presidential ambitions, Ronald Reagan and George H.W. Bush were also members, with Bush even introducing his son, George W., to this elite circle. The Bohemian Club raises serious questions. Is it just a place where powerful men can unwind, or is there something more sinister at play? Some find the secretive, all-male environment harmless, but others worry that policy decisions affecting us all are being made behind closed doors, fueled by expensive drinks and unchecked sense of entitlement. The thing we should be concerned about is the lakeside talks, one activist noted, where these powerful people discuss and choose policy, but they do so in secrecy with no public scrutiny. Whether the Bohemian Club is a quirky relic of the past or an ominous symbol of unchecked wealth shaping our world, one thing is certain: as long as wealth and influence gather behind those closed gates, the Bohemian Grove will remain a potent symbol, and its true nature is endlessly debated. But it's also interesting to realize that the ultra-rich's facade of luxury is crumbling. No longer can their shadowy gatherings be hidden behind Bohemian Grove's twisted rituals and muffled conversations. These extravagant bashes aren't just displays of obscene wealth, they're glaring reminders of the vast chasm separating them from the rest of society. These fancy parties aren't just about showing off money either, they're about huge gaps between the rich and everyone else. And honestly, the question isn't about if they're having a good time, it's what they're hiding in the shadows and how it hurts all of us. Thank you for watching The Dark Side of Dollars. Please comment below your opinions and what video ideas you'd like to see next. Like and subscribe, and as always, the truth lies in the details.